Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating and honestly pretty controversial moment in the history of Markiplier's subreddit r/Markiplier. If you're plugged into the community, you've likely noticed some pretty seismic shifts recently. There's been heated discussion, speculation, and of course a bit of chaos. Let's unpack it all and take a closer look at what's been happening. So let's start at the beginning. Markiplier, whose real name is Mark Fishbach, has been one of the most beloved and influential creators on YouTube for over a decade. With his mix of gaming content, comedic sketches, heartfelt discussions, and ambitious projects like his new film that's coming out soon, supposedly called Iron Lung, he's built an incredibly loyal and passionate fan base. Part of that fan engagement has been through his official subreddit, r/Markiplier, which has long served as a hub for fans to share memes, discuss his content, and generally vibe as a community. But everything changed on December the 25th, 2024. On Christmas Day, Mark made the surprising decision to remove several long-standing moderators from the subreddit. No warning, no public explanation, just a clean sweep. As you can imagine, this move didn't exactly sit well with everyone. The abrupt nature of the change left the community scrambling for answers, and speculation ran wild. Some users immediately questioned why Mark would take such a drastic step. Was there some kind of internal conflict among the moderators? Had the subreddit fallen into disarray? Or was this just Markiplier exercising his rights as the creator and de facto overseer of the community? Without clear communication, theories ranged from reasonable to outright conspiratorial. A few days later, Markiplier finally addressed the situation. In a thread titled, "Happy New Year, prepare to be purged," he laid out a set of new rules for the subreddit. These rules weren't just a tweak to the existing guidelines, they marked a significant shift in how the community was expected to operate. He emphasized that certain information needed to be kept within the community, suggesting a desire for tighter control over what gets shared outside the subreddit. His message had a tone of finality and authority, particularly when he said, "I will be bringing on new moderators to help enforce these rules, as well as reinforcing the most important rule on the list of rules. You know which one I mean. And if you don't, you will suffer the consequences of your ignorance." This statement only added fuel to the fire. Some interpreted it as Mark being playful or sarcastic. After all, he's known for his unique sense of humor. Others, however, found it ominous and authoritarian. The ambiguity of the statement left the community divided, with members reading into every word. The fallout was immediate and intense. Among the most vocal critics were some of the removed moderators. One former head mod, u/BraveLittleToaster87, who had been deeply involved in the community for several years, shared a heartfelt post expressing their disappointment. They wrote, "Mark, I spent multiple years as a moderator, in particular as the head model. I can't express how disappointed it makes me that you didn't care enough to reach out. I have poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this place for 4 to 5 years." This post resonated with many members of the subreddit who felt the sudden dismissal of long-standing mods was unfair. They argued that these individuals had invested countless hours into maintaining and growing the community, often without any compensation or recognition. For them, the removal felt like a betrayal. After the initial wave of backlash following the sudden removal of several moderators from r/Markiplier, Markiplier made another response addressing the ongoing complaints, particularly from the moderators who had been removed. This follow-up aimed to clarify his decision and provide more context to quell the concerns that had been bubbling up in the subreddit and beyond. In his response, Markiplier explained that his decision to remove moderators wasn't arbitrary or based on personal grievances. Instead, he focused on a critical issue: mod inactivity. According to Mark, many of the moderators who were removed hadn't been active in maintaining or engaging with the subreddit for an extended period. For a community as large and dynamic as r/Markiplier, inactivity among moderators can lead to stagnation and neglect, which is something he wanted to address head-on. Mark elaborated that his primary goal was to breathe new life into the subreddit. In response to a Reddit user's comment accusing him of hubris for taking control of his own subreddit, Markiplier clarified his intentions. He emphasized that he created the subreddit and, as its founder, holds the responsibility to manage it effectively. His goal is to cultivate a positive environment for the community, ensuring it remains a welcoming space for all members. He acknowledged the hard work and dedication of moderators in the past, but he emphasized that the role of a moderator comes with ongoing responsibilities. For Mark, this lack of involvement was a key factor in his decision to make changes. He He made it clear that it wasn't a personal slight against any individual mod, but a necessary step to ensure the subreddit's continued success. This explanation seemed to resonate with some members of the community who had initially been critical of the changes. They understood the importance of having an active and responsive moderation team, especially in a space as vibrant and fast-moving as Markiplier's fanbase. However, others still felt that the way the changes were handled, without prior warning or a direct conversation with the affected moderators, was unnecessarily abrupt and dismissive. He also took the opportunity to outline his vision for the future of the subreddit. With the introduction of new moderators, he hoped to create a more dynamic and engaging environment where fans could feel connected and valued. He emphasized that these changes weren't meant to erase the contributions of past moderators, but to adapt to the evolving needs of the community. It also highlighted the delicate balance creators must maintain when managing fan communities, especially when those communities are built on years of shared passion and collaboration. As the subreddit moved forward with its new moderation team, many users began to adjust to the changes, albeit with some lingering tension. The situation served as a reminder of the challenges that come with managing large online spaces and the importance of clear communication, even when difficult decisions need to be made. This additional response gave fans more insight into Markiplier's thought process and his commitment to his community. While it may not have satisfied everyone, it showed his willingness to engage directly with criticism and his dedication to fostering a positive environment for his fans. Another aspect of this situation worth noting is Mark's recent introduction of members-only live streams. These streams are an exclusive perk for fans who choose to support him through paid memberships, providing them with a more intimate and interactive experience. While this idea resonated with many of his most dedicated followers, some fans raised concerns about the growing divide between those who could afford memberships and those who couldn't. These concerns sparked a broader conversation about inclusivity in online communities and the monetization of fan engagement. Some fans speculated that the changes to the subreddit were tied to this new initiative, wondering if the tighter moderation and new rules were an attempt to streamline the community to align with these paid offerings. Markiplier, however, was quick to address these rumors. In his response, he clarified that the members-only live streams weren't about creating exclusivity for its own sake, but were a necessary step to fund his larger creative projects. These projects, such as his series Edge of Sleep and other ambitious endeavors, often require funding that platforms like YouTube can't fully provide due to their fluctuating monetization policies and revenue-sharing models. Mark explained that these streams allowed him to maintain creative freedom without having to rely as heavily on sponsorships or external funding, which can sometimes compromise the vision of a project. He emphasized that the live streams were a way to give back to his most devoted fans while simultaneously building a sustainable model for producing high-quality content. This transparency helped to assuage some concerns, but for others, the introduction of a paywall still felt like a departure from the inclusive ethos that had defined his community for years. This entire episode highlights the complexities of managing online communities in the age of social media. On one hand, you have moderators who dedicate their time and energy out of love for the community, often working behind the scenes to keep things running smoothly. These individuals act as gatekeepers, fostering an environment where fans can express themselves freely while maintaining order. On the other hand, you have creators like Markiplier who bear the ultimate responsibility for their brand and its associated spaces. The pressure to balance the expectations of millions of fans, the financial realities of content creation, and the evolving landscape of digital platforms is immense. Striking a balance between these interests is never easy, and sometimes decisions that seem harsh or abrupt are made with the bigger picture in mind. For Markiplier, this appears to be a turning point in how he approaches community management and his relationship with fans. Whether this new direction will strengthen his bond with the community or create lasting fractures remains to be seen. As the dust settles, the subreddit is slowly adjusting to the new rules and moderators. Some fans remain skeptical, feeling that the changes were handled too abruptly or lacked sufficient communication. Others, however, are optimistic that these adjustments will ultimately benefit the community by creating a more positive and focused space. The dynamic between creators, moderators, and fans is an ever-changing one, and only time will tell how this drama shapes the future of r/Markiplier and its relationship with Markiplier himself. And that's where we'll leave it for today. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking with me through this deep dive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Markiplier made the right call, or could he have handled things differently? Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time.